Is that me? Okay, cool. So yeah, welcome to our second night of the Diamond Sutra, Saturday Night in Light. And I have a PowerPoint for tonight, and I thought I'd zip through the ones that I had last week too, just as a quick little refresher / intro if you're first time here. And then I've got some new slides, and then I'll read chapter 3 and 4 of the Diamond Sutra. And I would like to do it again as a Lectio Divina. I feel like that works really well. So if you, at that point, if you want to close your eyes, I'll read through those 2 chapters 3 times. And then we'll go into a 10-minute sit and we'll chat about how that was. And that'll be our evening. Yeah. Great. So let's just... so there's this Dharma, this Sutra chant, and you guys all have this under your cushion somewhere. Mason very kindly handed those out for me. And this is just, it's a traditional sutra chant, and it just expresses an intention to understand what the teaching is. And so, traditionally you kind of hold it like that. And we'll chant this together. I'll be nice and loud, but don't be shy. And, it's fairly slow pace, and we'll just read through it once. And feel free not to read if it doesn't resonate, right? Okay. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely met even in 100,000 million kalpas. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning. Yeah. So yes, the Tathagata is the name used often, one of the names used for Shakyamuni Buddha, who was the person who created this sutra originally in the form of a teaching, like an audible teaching that was then later written down. And so Tathagata literally translated means one who neither goes nor returns. Yeah, so like a fully enlightened being. So what does the Diamond Sutra mean? In Sanskrit, I don't think I'm pronouncing this properly, but it's Vajrasadik Prajnaparamita Sutra, which means the diamond cutter, Supreme Consciousness Sutra. So the idea behind this teaching is that it does cut through illusion, right? Because the Buddha his realization was that there is a certain way to understand reality that will decrease suffering. And that was his whole thing, was he wanted us to suffer less. So he was a human being who just figured out this strategy. And this sutra was his teaching about how to change our perspective on reality so that we're not engaging with what isn't real. Yeah. So we're not engaging with what isn't real. So it's a diamond that cuts through illusion is the idea. And this is the cover of the oldest existing copy of this book. You can sort of see Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha right in the middle there. This guy right here is the guy Subhuti, who asks the question. You can't really see him here, but if you Google later, he's sitting there asking the question that leads to this teaching. Subhuti. And so this is the earliest complete survival of a dated printed book. There are older books, but not as a complete copy. And so the oldest copy was written May 11th, or copied anyways, May 11th, 868, and there's a copy in the British Museum. And it was first spoken by Shakyamuni Buddha in the Jeta Grove at Shravasti. So Shakyamuni Buddha, he lived approximately 480 BCE to about 400 BCE, so around 2,419 years ago. So quite some time ago. This is a picture of Jeta Grove in you can actually go there and visit it. These are the foundations of the original building, so this is where this sutra was actually taught originally. I think that this foundation, let me get my arrow, this foundation right here, can you see? I think that was where Buddha lived when he was staying at Jeddah Grove, so they had a little house. Where he'd hang out. Yeah. And Sravasti to Vernon is 11,101 kilometers. Quite a walk. And, well, you can't walk, obviously. And the rate of transmission from Sravasti to Vernon is about 4.6 kilometers per year. According to our cognitive mind, right? You do a little math with our little thinking brain, and it can figure out all these wonderful things, right? But Buddha's point was, that maybe is not the best possible way to view reality. It's interesting and it's fun and everything, but he felt like we could dip into, as humans, we have the option of dipping into a deeper level of reality that actually significantly decreases our suffering. So that was his teaching. And so, rate of transmission from Buddha mind is kind of like, it looks to our cognitive mind like Vernon's here and Sravasti's over there. But Buddha would disagree. Buddha would say, it's all right here. It's all the same. It's all the same. There's actually no distance between here and Sravasti. And even in time, it's a series of moments, right? And even time is kind of all the same, was his point. So I just want to allude to this idea of emptiness, right? Because a lot of Buddhists, the word they use to describe the shunyata that Buddha discovered, they call it emptiness. That's the translation they use, right? Because it's such a big space, fundamental reality. Or another nice word for it is suchness. Because it's emptiness with a certain flavor or tone. Kind of a delightful tone. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're going to with this Diamond Sutra, is we're going to start to see about this other level of reality. Yeah, this other level. So our version of the Diamond Sutra is a new translation by Alex Johnson, and if you want to, you can order one from him online by making a little PayPal donation at his website, diamondsutra.com, and he'll PDF one to you if you want one. Yeah, and very nice guy. He's letting me use it. So I want to mention that that's available if you want to. So just to introduce these two chapters that we're going to be talking about tonight, I want to start to bring to your awareness this other version of reality that he's talking about, right? So in relative reality, that's our everyday, right now, day-to-day kind of reality, right? So I am me, right? Body and mind. And I have an identity. I believe myself to be Cheryl Hamilton, and I'm married and I have 2 kids and I live in Armstrong, right? That's my belief about myself, yes? And the other thing is, you are you. I'm me, you're you. And that's how it looks, isn't it? I mean, it looks like I'm a person with a body and a mind, and you're a person with a body and a mind, and it kind of looks like we're separate, visibly, doesn't it? Yes? And so, yeah, we're separate. That is relative reality. Subject, object. Subject, object. I pick up my cup, I have a little drink. Right? Separate. Yeah, that's how we tend to view it. So all objects in this view are separate from each other. That's how we deal, don't we, in the world? We go out and we manipulate stuff, believing it to be separate from ourselves. Right? Yeah. Yeah. The problem with this reality is that when we start to observe objects as separate, we also start to judge some of them as better than others. We start to think, well, like I look at my little bloggy and I think, oh, I wish I had a better camera. Or I look at my little cup of water and I'm like, oh, I don't know, it's not a very nice cup. Or, whatever, those kinds of judgmental thoughts based on separation of subject and object. Judgmental thoughts based on separation. Yes? Okay. Absolute reality, so this other reality that Buddha was talking about, absolute reality that we're getting to with the Diamond Sutra, right, is actually I am emptiness. I am suchness. Like, I am. Yes? And so are you. And in fact, we're all suchness. We're all this quality of emptiness suffused with suchness. All of us, we're the same. And in fact, everything is suchness. So like anything you could think, or anything you could pick up and play with, or anything you could say, or anything you could do, or anything at all, it's all the same. It's all emptiness, it's all suchness. Yes? Yeah. And on the other hand, therefore, if everything is suchness, then also suchness is everything. And then that's how in Buddhist thought, that's how the sacredness comes into everything, right? Suchness is everything. So actually, when I pick up my water cup and have a drink, this is Buddha mind. This is not separate from myself, actually, from a Buddhist perspective. It's all emptiness. Okay. So, and then I brought this is a little chant. It's an English translation from, I believe it's a Japanese chant. Certainly I learned it in the Zen tradition. It was probably maybe Chinese originally. Kanzeon is the Japanese name for Avalokiteshvara. And Avalokiteshvara is that Buddha, that bodhisattva with all the arms, with the hands with the eyes and the hands. Yeah? And in Japan, she's sometimes depicted as a woman, can be a female or a male, and it's the bodhisattva of compassion, right? So the embodiment of compassion, Kanzeon. And the way this goes traditionally is, Kanzeon, praise to Buddha, all are one with Buddha, all awake to Buddha, Buddha Dharma Sangha, eternal joyous, selfless, pure, through the day Kanzeon, through the night Kanzeon. This moment arises from mind, this moment itself is mind. So to put that though, like in more English kind of terms, or even, what happens here is like embodied compassion, praise to suchness. This emptiness quality is the source of compassion. Because once we recognize that we are all this emptiness, and we are all each other, and we are all everything, I mean, how can you do anything else but have compassion? Yes? So therefore, emptiness becomes the foundation of compassion. So embodied compassion, praise to suchness. All are one with suchness. All awake to suchness. Suchness, truth, and community. Eternal, joyous, selfless, pure. Through the day, embodied compassion. Through the night, embodied compassion. This moment arises from mind. This moment itself is mind. Yeah, because this is the ultimate awareness that the Buddha came to, was that big mind, Buddha mind, awakened mind, is the source of everything that is. And not only is it the source of everything that is, it also is everything that is. It is everything that is, including you. Yes? Okay. So the Diamond Sutra is basically about this realization of emptiness. That's where it's coming from. It's helping you come to a realization of emptiness. Yep. Or suchness. And this is not a cognitive process. You kind of can't think yourself there. Right? Thinking doesn't really work. So I'm saying a whole ton of words and giving you a whole ton of ideas, and frankly, between you and me, it's total bullshit. If it's coming out of my mouth as language, it can't be true. It can't. The best that language can hope to do is point you in a direction. Right? But after that, the rest is you having the realization of emptiness. Yeah. So it's not cognitive. You can't think about it. You can't talk about it. Dang, right? I mean, you just can't. It's entering into the stream of suchness. That's where this sutra leads. Entering into the stream. Becoming aware of the stream. Because the truth is, you're already there. Yeah, it's like being a fish and you're swimming around in water and someone asks you, where's the water? Can a fish answer that question? So here you are in Buddha mind, inside, outside, everything Buddha mind. And I ask you, what's Buddha mind? We can't say 2 words about it. It's our fundamental milieu, our fundamental environment, internal and external. Yeah. So you already have it. That's the good news. It's just a question of noticing. It's already there. Yeah. It's already there. Here it is. Right? Here it is. Already. So then that's to kind of tee you up for this chapter 3 and 4 that I'll read through this evening. So if you want to get yourself comfortable, move around, grab a chair if you need to, however you like, or be where you are, either is good. Of course you're going to be where you are. Where else are you going to be? And then I'll go through and I'll read this. I'll give Nixon a chance to get himself settled a bit. Maybe all of us can settle a bit too. Yeah, and I found out the hard way my blogging only records for 29 minutes and then it dies. So I'm going to just ta-da, sing a happy song. So yeah, this is where things start to get interesting in the Diamond Sutra, because he's saying that the charity that we do, the compassion that we have, we're used to kind of doing that in the world and thinking, oh, good job, aren't we? Right? It's like, and not that that's wrong, it's just, that's what we do. But on some fundamental level, doing compassionate acts or that kind of thing is more, who's doing what to whom? It's all just emptiness acting on itself in this way of seeing it. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sure, yeah. Compassion, yeah, exactly. Compassion from a separated self perspective, right? And this idea of merit, how is that even possible from a Buddhist perspective? There is no one to receive the merit. There is no one to receive the merit. And he says, therefore, the merit is as big as the heavens. You can't measure it, because the person who's able to, perform compassion without regard to appearance, is already it, and knows that they're it, and is familiar with this realm of emptiness where it's expanded and immeasurable and giant and huge, and, so, yeah. Also, Buddha, that's a heck of a lot of work to put in not to even liberate one being, right? Like, they're all going to be liberated, but really, none of them are. Why? Because they already are. It already is that way. From his perspective, there is no separate self. They already are liberated. You already are liberated from Buddhist perspective. Yeah. What do you think about that? Yeah, so emptiness, that's where the Diamond Sutra is, that's what it's leading us into. That's what it's describing, this experience of shunyata, or this experience of emptiness. Yeah. So I think let's take a moment to kind of stretch and move around a little bit, and then we'll nope, bad idea. I'll talk you through the posture first while you're facing me, and then we'll take a little break, move around, drink some water if you need to, and then I'm going to invite you to turn and face the wall, because that's tradition in Soto Zen. So you guys will turn around with your back to me, and I'll sit here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the breath today too. So I'll talk about the posture like last time, and then I'll bring a little bit about breath too. Okay. Yes? Are you guys ready to move into a posture? So sitting, yeah, it's a lot like yoga. You move into a posture and you stay there for a while. And tonight we're going to be sitting for 10 minutes. Assuming I can find my phone. That would be very helpful. you. So yeah, so we will we'll be holding posture for 10 minutes, and I'm going to help you build the posture right now from the ground up, and then you'll turn around, we'll take a break, you'll turn around, I'll do it again, so you'll really learn how to do that. So considering first your legs, if you're sitting in a chair, you know what it is, so if you're, sitting on the floor, you want your legs to be, you can sit in Burmese, which means that both your feet are kind of flat on the floor and your knees are flat on the floor, or you can pick up an ankle, either, it doesn't matter which, and put it on top. So like that's like a half lotus, right, with one foot, one sole facing the ceiling. I cannot maintain a full lotus, but full lotus is each foot on top of each thigh. Not my thing at all, can't do it. So I'm going to sit in half lotus, but make yourself comfortable is the main thing. And ideally you'd like to have your knees on the floor. So a good way to help with that is, not necessarily the floor, it can be on a cushion too, that totally works. As long as your knees are supported by something, that's the ticket, yeah? So you can feel your knees contacting. Yeah, and once you've got that happening, so you're sitting on kind of the anterior, the front, the front third of the cushion that you're on. And then you want to take your hands, put your left fingers on top of your right fingers, and this is called the cosmic mudra, or I've heard it called the universal mudra. Put your thumbs barely touching, like as if you could hold a piece of paper between them. And you can pick up your mudra and look at it. It should kind of look a little bit like an oval. And then you want to put your thumbs kind of at your navel or just below, wherever that fits in your body. And this is like indicating the hara, right? So kind of push into your lower belly and become a little bit familiar with that. Because when the breath comes in, it's going to be coming in through your nose, but it's also going to be coming in through this mudra simultaneously. Yeah, great. So then you've got mudra, and then what you're going to do is bring your your elbows away from your body a little bit, as if you were carrying 2 eggs in your armpits. So your arms kind of aren't collapsing, they're sort of a little bit more, there's a little life in there. And then you want to tuck in your chin the tiniest bit so that your ears are over your shoulders. And have your occiput, like the bone in the back of your skull, facing up towards the ceiling at about a 45-degree angle. So it's just a little bit of a tuck and a lift to elongate the spine and take the strain off your neck. And then with your tongue, take your tongue and center it in the back of your top teeth. So not off left, not off right, just resting lightly the back of your top teeth. And let your jaw be very slightly open. And let your eyes, start with your eyes looking straight out in front of you, and then drop them down to about 45 degrees. And your eyes should rest gently somewhere on the floor in front of you. And let your eyes close to about 3/4 of the way, and let your gaze be very soft. So you aren't really looking at the floor. This is one way they say of turning your illumination inwards, right? So you're not really looking at anything, but your eyes are resting as if you could look at a 45-degree angle away from your body. And then once you have all that going on, then you can start to swing your body left. Start with the left, go to the right, and just make little arcs with your spine so that you can start to find your midline in gravity. And you're going left, right. And just get smaller and smaller and smaller with your arcing, and then eventually you'll feel where your spine lands in the middle. And you can do the same thing front to back if you want. Just lean slightly forward, slightly back. Just helping your spine find its most neutral alignment in gravity. Great. And like in yoga, you can constantly notice, scan, adjust, reorganize your posture as needed. So then to talk about the breath, I'd like to teach you a kind of breath called the Unshu breath. And the Unshu breath, the focus of the Unshu breath is on the exhalation. So in daily life, often we're sort of used to focusing on inhalation, but in this breathing, you're going to focus on the exhalation, especially the very end of the exhale, where the lungs are empty. It's kind of the theme of the night, emptiness, right? So So what you do is you breathe in gently through your nose, but also through your hara at the same time. So you're breathing through your mudra and through your nose at the same time. And as you breathe out, if you know Ujjayi breath from yoga, it's like that. You kind of let your throat be a little bit closed so that there's the tiniest bit of sound as the breath leaves your body. So and just let your mind be fully absorbed by the fact of breath leaving your body, and then spend a little time with the lungs completely empty before you take your next breath. Through the nose, through the hara. And indeed, you can even breathe, 360 degrees through all the pores in your body. And then exhale a little bit of a sound. And just let your mind notice the sound of the breath leaving your body all the way down till empty, and hang out a bit at empty. So let's just take a few breaths in that cycle. One true breath.